Prince Institute. Exercise 135. Sir Happy Singh. Ready? Start. Now, sir, so far as the policies are concerned, I have read Mr. Patel's speech. Here, in his speech, we get nothing. In the speech that has been circulated to us, he says, I would like to make it clear at the outset that though these have been circulated, they do not reflect our philosophy, policies, and programs. I can understand that. But I do hope Mr. Patel will not bring in the philosophy of which we are aware in the old days. We are little afraid of those philosophies, programs, and policies. Now people may change. Everything changes. Treasury benches and opposition change. And I am sure that Mr. Patel will also change. I do not know what will happen. At least I do hope so. But what do we find in the President's address? How is it that there is no reference to the industrial development of the country? How is it that there is no reference to the public sector? How is it that when agriculture is supposed to be given priority, there is no reference to the land reforms or distribution of land to the tillers of the soil or enforcement of sealing laws? Nothing is there. Then, how do we advance? We are interested in building a modern economy and industrial economy. I hope, sir, the policy of self reliance will not be abandoned. I hope the struggle for economic independence will go on. I hope the laws will be amended in order to bring about establishment of a new international economic order. That is what I would like to say. No such thing is said in this address. You talk about agriculture and its improvement, but there is no mention about peasantry, no mention of the fact that the agricultural workers are not getting the minimum wage that has been fixed by the government. These are not being implemented. Are these not to be taken note of? Not to speak of all that there is no mention of the scrapping of the CDS or, for that matter, the revival of the old Bonus Act or amendment of the bonus ordinance workers are concerned. These are disturbing signs. This indicates the frame about which we have to be extremely cautious and vigilant. In fact, sir, it creates an anxiety. Yes, you could not find time for all this. But what was the difficulty in upholding and saying, just as you said in the case of foreign policy, that this government will pursue the policy of giving the public sector the commanding heights in our economy? What was the wrong in it? Nothing was wrong. What was the objection in stating that you shall pursue the policy of self reliance by fighting colonialism which stands in the way of self reliance? What was the objection in stating in the President's address India's stand on the question of establishment of a new international economic order? What was there to avoid any kind of commitment with regard to the implementation of land reforms or the minimum agricultural wages that have been fixed by the government? I cannot understand why there is no mention that concessions which have been given to the monopolists during the emergency period will be reviewed and taken away from the monopolist class so that the Birlas and the Tatas cannot go in the way that is detrimental to our nation economy. What is there no mention that the working class will be restored their full rights, including the right to collective bargaining and strike? No mention is there. When you are talking about restoration of democracy, the working class had been subjected to intimidation and terror, but there is no mention of that. All these things which have agitated the minds of the people naturally cannot be passed over in silence or without having certain mental feeling about them. That I must say, sir, even with regard to the foreign policy, what was the need for adding genuine foreign policy? That this government will pursue genuine foreign policy. Were we pursuing an adulterated foreign policy that the Janata Party will now embark upon, making it genuine? Our foreign policy has been not only genuine but one which has won acclamation of the whole peace loving world countries which stand for freedom, justice, and international cooperation. The task of the government is to firmly adhere to this foreign policy, to pay tribute to it. The foreign policy of India is not the achievement of this or that party. It is the achievement of the genius and patriotism of our people. It is the achievement of the heritage of our freedom struggle. And today it is our duty, no matter on which side to the house we sit, that we preserve it, we carry it forward, and we uphold the policy which has brought us pride and strength.